they started talking about how, man, we just don't have the car counts we used to have. Well, they're up significantly in car counts, but we have the right team there now, and they're meshing. They're working well together, and they don't feel busy because they're not struggling through comebacks or having to help individuals that are creating problems for the rest of the team.
Welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast, the official podcast for tire business. I am Mike Edge, your host, and I have the privilege of interviewing the tire dealers, shop owners, counter sales reps, technicians, industry executives, and other thought leaders of our industry. This episode is brought to you by Tread Partners. Tread Partners is the leading digital marketing agency that specializes in digital marketing for multi-location tire and auto repair shops. Tread Partners works with clients that have hundreds of locations down to 5 locations. Get a professional, unbiased opinion and let Tread Partners review what you're doing. It starts with a simple conversation. To contact Tread Partners, visit treadpartners.com. So let's get started. Welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast, the official podcast for tire business. My guest today is Jon Kloosterman, COO of Westside Auto Group with 6 auto repair shops in Michigan. Jon, welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, let's talk about a little bit about Jon and, where you came from. And so did you grow up in Michigan?
I did. I grew up in the town that I work in now.
Oh, that's fabulous. A lot of family around you?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I have 2 other brothers, and we're all in a 5-mile radius. So,
oh man, that's spectacular. Do you guys, well, I know you're involved you got youth football. Did you guys grow up playing football?
I didn't. My local high school has started a football program as I was going through the high school. So I didn't play. I played a lot of baseball growing up, but my kids are all getting involved in it now.
Nice. Nice. Baseball's awesome too, man. So I guess you're probably a Tigers fan.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We Michigan fans have really gone through the ringer for a lot of years between the Lions and the Pistons. I mean, we like to set records for losing seasons.
Yeah, but you guys have had some winning stuff. I mean, the Tigers over the years have had some, I know they're going up and down and everything, but you guys, you had some good years in the, the early 2000s, because you played St. Louis and that's my team in one of the World Series. I think it was 06, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
We didn't win any of them, but we had guys like Verlander and Scherzer, and I mean, we had some really good years.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to be a Wings fan either. I mean, they had a really good
That's
run.
Right.
So.
Well, and you didn't grow. I'm a little older than you, but I remember the Pistons. They were they were the dogs for, the bad boys of the NBA for a while. And, I remember when they were dominant, and before Jordan was able to get the Bulls kind of organized, they would get even when Jordan was on that team, they were getting it handed to them by the Pistons there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've probably seen that documentary, but that one documentary, I can't remember which one it is, but they talked about Jordan realized that they needed to beef up, and they started lifting weights off season just to play the Pistons.
Yeah.
Because they felt like they're getting manhandled.
They had some tough guys. Yeah.
They did. Well, back to yourself and your youth. Did you always know you wanted to get into auto care?
No, not at all. I mean, I fell into this industry. My brother, so I mean, basically how I started is I graduated from high school. My brother started dating a girl that, and they started getting a little bit more serious, and I was looking for a summer job, and we were sitting playing cards one night, and she said, my dad is looking for somebody. And so I went in there, and we talked. He's a big fast pitch softball player. And we talked softball for 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes. And then he said, okay, I got to get back to work. And I said, well, what about the job? And then he looked at me and said, well, you can start tomorrow. So I started after that, and then never left.
That's awesome.
So,
well, I mean, so obviously you've done something right. How long have you been with the company?
I've been here for 17 years now.
So 17 years. And when were you made COO?
The January 1st of 2020. So
you've been COO now for 5 years, almost 6.
Yeah.
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 So
That was a
that's all.
very unorthodox transition. When you think about January 1, 2020, end of January, the country gets shut down. And there was no figuring out what a true COO did in that situation. It was we 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 had a lot of fires to put out, just trying to figure out how to make things work that year. It was a fun ride. Looking back now, it wasn't then.
Yeah. No, but looking back, I mean, I think experiences like that, we never want to go through them, right? I mean, but when we go through those experiences, we can always say, man, I'm better for it now, but that doesn't mean I want to do it again, right? I mean,
Right,
but
right.
but I do think it helps us. I do think it helps us as humanly possible. It does remove the sting of fear to some degree, because you know that you can handle the rough stuff, I guess, the tough batches. And like I said, it's not saying that I want to go through those bubbles again, but I can look on my life and go, you know, it's kind of like some of my friends will say when they grew up, they said, my dad used to say, well, they can't eat you, and it's kind of like that attitude, like nothing's going to happen. You're going to be fine. Just
Yeah.
keep working basically. And, that's cool that you had that experience. I mean, it's a challenge because you just got thrown into that role, and man, you had a lot on your shoulders as a young man too. Just a lot of people looking up to you to take care of them and whatnot. But well, here you are today. And how long have you guys had 6 stores?
So the last one we opened in January of 2024.
Okay.
So, and 6 months prior to that, we had added our 5th store. So, in 2020, when I moved into the role, we had 3 locations. So in
Okay.
the last in a 4-year span, we added 3 stores. Um, and then last year we kind of looked at it and said, okay, now it's time to regroup, settle in, add some maturity to the stores in terms of time under our brand, just trying to make sure that we have our I's dotted and T's crossed. So,
Yeah.
and we did a lot of that going back in 2020 when we had during the COVID lockdowns. We Looking back now, like to your point, I had an opportunity to sit down and look at process procedures and really build out a lot more structure in the business, which at the time seems tedious, but
Yeah.
it really set us up for that growth that happened over the next few years after that.
It's interesting to me. I've talked to folks in your position before, and they all say that they all give me that same vibe. Yes, it's a tedious spot to be in. I don't like sitting down and thinking about process but when you get through it and you put something in place, now when you adjust your process, it's not as dramatic. It's like it's more like turning a dial or pulling a lever, but you don't have to revamp everything. And then, I think that is got to be a liberating thought to know from a management standpoint. Hey, I thought about process. We've gotten ourselves to this point. We know what we want to do now that we've got 6 stores and the personnel that we got, and how to handle everything from an HR standpoint to customer complaint or whatever. But you get those things in place, man. It allows you, like like you said, you had a nice weekend over the weekend because you didn't have a lot of phone calls and it was a long weekend. Well, you don't get that luxury if you don't put in process.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It takes time, and it takes a lot of discipline in being able to sit down. And our pendulum swung all the way one direction, and then we've kind of settled in the middle in terms of in 2020, we had very little in terms of the processes, procedures set down. And then we started going into the KPIs and the processes, and we started focusing in very, very strong detail into some of that stuff. And we've scaled back to a point where we found our happy medium as a company in terms of what we're watching, what kind of discretion we leave to our teams in the stores. And it seems to be working really well. So a lot of it
That's
comes down to
awesome.
the people you have on your teams.
Amen. Well, what do you think really sets you guys apart, among your competitors in your markets? What makes you Westside unique? Is it the what you present to the consumer? Is it what you do for your employees? A combination? What do you think sets you guys apart?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a combination of the two. I think that it starts with your internal client. which your team members, and having great people on your teams, and culture has been the absolute centerpiece of what we've discussed, what we've implemented as we've continued to grow. And we wanted to make sure that as we grew, that was at the forefront of all of our conversations, because I fully believe that if that is strong and you have great people on your teams, that providing exceptional service becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
And so we've stressed that a lot to our teams. The culture, not even just in each individual store, but across stores. We try to set the bar for strong relationships between locations, even though they don't see each other on a daily basis. We want our team members to continue to communicate. We do a lot of weekly cross training with our foremen, directors, advisors, so that they see each other consistently. Because I think that tight knit platform, it makes it a lot easier to get people to buy into moving forward and growing.
So training and then training together obviously helps that culture. What do you got? What else do you guys do specifically for your employees in general that would create that better culture or vibe?
So I mean, weekly we do advisor meetings where we're stepping in and we're getting all the advisors in and on a Zoom call, and we're going over different topics, kind of trying to create our own internal peer groups. And then we do that with shop foremen and the directors as well. But then we also put quarterly meetings together for in-person meetings with those same groups. And then we have a lot of fun at our company Christmas party. And then we have a summer event where we get together with all 6 stores. And that's the fun part for me, is you could sit in one room with everyone that you've worked with and got the opportunity to know over the year. And you see how those relationships start to kick in from cross stores. You go to a table and there's people from 4 different locations sitting together, just chatting away and enjoying themselves. That to me is when you start seeing that culture that you focus so hard on. Absolutely is there, and it's a ton of fun to be a part of.
No, I could totally see that. I think it's interesting when you see people, let's say they were strangers before they met at Westside, and now they're figuring out ways to work together. And when you're doing those meetings online, that's another great step. But then when you see them kind of gel when they come together, that's got to be very rewarding. And then it builds your confidence up. But I think it's huge, because I like the phrase of know, like, and trust. They talk about that in sales, but they also talk about it in other aspects of business and management. But when you know, like, and trust each other, man, life's a lot easier, isn't it?
Oh, so much more. And then you get the part of it where recruiting becomes a lot easier, because people all know each other. They want friends to work with each other. So, I mean, we have a director, a foreman, or a director and 2 foremen. We hired the director. He recommended a foreman, and then that foreman had a son that ended up becoming one of our other foremen. Like, it's just, you start getting people pulling in good people.
Yeah.
And good people know good people.
It's almost what my mom used to say, look, cream rises to the top. And that's where you got to be. Stay at the top and the cream will show up. And she was always right about that, but it works the same way, whatever organization, whether it's family or whatever, business, pleasure, social organizations, the best attract the best, and the best people do. And I'm not talking about like, you got to buy it's all one type of personality, but I'm talking about good-hearted, good-willed people seem to know each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And capabilities aren't always at the top of your list when you're recruiting those things, the team members, because I mean, we can teach a lot and we have access to so much in terms of training. But when it comes down to when this person walks through the door and in 2 weeks, are they still going to get along with the people that are around them? I mean, every one of our stores has its own personality.
Yeah.
Based on the individuals that are in the building. So trying to find team members and teams to put together that fit well to that's where it just takes a lot of time. And I kind of look at it as that we open a new store, it's going to take us 2 to 3 years to put the right team in place, because you're going to inherit some people that really probably aren't your team members. They don't fit who you're looking for. And then you got to figure that out. And then you start getting new people in, and then you look at the dynamic of how they work together.
But I think that's a good rule of thumb. I think that's a good rule of thumb that you're aware of that. Like you know in your mind, okay, realistically, and it may work out faster, but not all the time. But let's say the average is two years, maybe up to 3, that I can get this dialed in. But you're cognitive of the fact that you're looking for that culture the whole time and trying to dial that in. And I think our listeners would appreciate knowing, okay, it's not just me feeling like this is getting drawn out, that it does take time. It does take time to get that team networked or, stitched together.
Yeah. And I mean, so in the first year of owning a new store, I mean, if you have a good set of processes and structure in your business, you're going to see growth. And then year 2, you're going to see it as well. But when you see that team start to mesh together, like, for example, we have one of the store that we bought it was 2 years ago, and they're the 5th location. They saw significant growth year 1, year 2, and then this fall they started talking about how, man, we just don't have the car counts we used to have. Well, they're up significantly in car counts, but we have the right team there now, and they're meshing. They're working well together, and they don't feel busy because they're not struggling through comebacks or having to help individuals that are creating problems for the rest of the team. And they feel like they're not busy, but they're significantly ahead of where they were. And it all comes down to they have the right team in place. The process and procedures are going to get you a certain length or a certain distance, but when that team starts to gel, that's when the cool things really start to happen.
That's so refreshing to hear, because that's so cool that they're way up and didn't even know it, and it's kind of like, and I've talked to multiple guests on here that are sports oriented, but Nick Saban, he's good. He's the GOAT of college football. He's won 7 national titles. But I love to catch him on YouTube Reels and videos where he's giving talks about different things. But process was huge for him. And then you get guys like Lane Kiffin that'll talk about him. And Lane was, I think, a little bit arrogant when he got with him. But he woke up when he coached with Nick, because Nick never let your head get big. But the one thing that he loved, and I love what you're saying here, he never wanted his teams to ever look at the scoreboard. He said, don't worry about the scoreboard. It's all about the next play in the process. Just do your job. And the fact that your team's gelling like that and they can't even tell that they're winning because it's going so smooth, I think, or they don't even know how much they're winning by, in a sense, to compare it. Like, that's you've done something right then.
Yeah. And it takes time. I mean, you have a group of people that haven't known each other that long, and they're trying to figure themselves out. And then you have pride and egos that get involved in an industry where flat rate commission pay, stuff like that, is very, very common. And so you got to find the right pay plans that fit in with all these different personalities, and who fits on what, and who can handle different types of commission pay plans. So it takes time. And that goes back to what I talked about earlier, is we swung the pendulum way far to the right in terms of process, procedure, and KPIs. We had all these KPIs that we were watching very closely, and we monitor car counts and stuff like that. But what we shifted to is just more or less one KPI for the counter staff, and then the teams in the back every day. We have whiteboards in the back, and they update our revenue towards a goal that's a common for the team, and they get a little bit of a kick if we hit the goal at the end of the month. But they're not watching a lot of things. They know what their win number is, and after that, I just want them to take care of people.
Yeah. Well, I think I think that's a really big step that you guys took, and you took it based on experience. I mean, you got there through a mature process, but yeah, I think when people have too many KPIs, then it's not authentically human anymore or something. It's too dry or whatever you want to call it, and people quit thinking for themselves. The critical thinking aspect is kind of thrown out. But now when you leave them to say, hey, here's the goal, I need you to get there, and here's the KPI for maybe halfway mark or how you get there or whatever. That's such a big step, I think, in management. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Patton, but it's about General Patton, who was our basically stud general in World War II in the European theater. But George Patton was a hard ass. I mean, put it blunt, but he believed in giving people a go and then let them figure out how to get there. He said, because if I've got to figure it out for you, then I don't need you, he said, right. But because I want your creativity, I want your ingenuity. He didn't say this in the movie, but because of the movie affected me so much, I've gone back and listened to his ways of management. And, he just tell people what he expected, and then he held them accountable to that objective, and they had to figure out how to work together or whatever. He might have not been the smoothest in regards to, but you're in war, so it's different, I guess. But yeah. He wasn't trying to make friends, but he got his men to do extraordinary things. I mean, unheard of things, because they were motivated. But I love your approach, and I love the fact that you're open enough to admit that, hey, yeah, we went too far one way and figured that out. But now you've got these teams that are running so smooth. I think that's a great lesson to different groups that are probably listening to us today.
Yeah. Yeah. And every team has certain things that are more challenging than the others, but then we created a messaging platform. We didn't create a messaging platform. We use a messaging platform to try to put them in groups where they can communicate with the other directors, to your point, to try to figure out solutions on their own. Because if we have to go in there and give direction on some of those challenges or problems that they run into consistently, then they don't have the opportunity to grow to their full potential. And it creates a lot more fires to put out. At a certain point, all you're doing is chasing problems.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to do. And high caliber individuals and great people want to be given a little bit of a leash.
I agree. Ownership. And they like ownership.
Discretion. Yeah, for sure.
And it's good for you guys to be able to say, hey, I trust you to take care of the company in its best interest, mm-hmm. and all the people in here. So figure it out. Good luck, and call me if it gets bigger than a certain level, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the month, then we sit down with the directors and we go over P&Ls, and then what we've started doing and we're resorting to a little bit more frequently is them just presenting the P&Ls to us at this point, because again, more ownership, more opportunity for them to understand what they're truly driving, and that helped with the ownership aspect of it. We give them structure in terms of what we're looking for in certain categories and stuff like that. But it's really cool to see how excited they get about certain things, but then the creativity that comes from it as well. Like, perfect example, and we kind of laughed about this last week. We were sitting down, we were looking, our controller was looking at our Amazon account, because we have a business account. He's like, why are we buying pots and pans? This makes zero sense. We're an automotive repair facility. Why is this on our P&L? Like, why is this in our purchase history? Well, we give the teams a lunch budget for every Friday so they can eat together as a team. And one of the directors figured out that he could order and make lunches, like frozen lunches and stuff like that, like lasagnas and stuff like that, and stay way below his budget, and he could still afford to buy the pots and pans. So he's out there getting way more creative with how they're doing it, and the teams love that. They get in now they're just not ordering food in, and it's just cool to see that they.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And at first it looks like an expense, and really, it's a savings.
Yeah. So he's looking at it, going, I can save money if I do this. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
It's cool to see.
What's a mantra, a code, quote, something that you I don't know, live by, or kind of like to reflect on once in a while as a COO?
So something that we've been using this year has been, we've been putting it on every whiteboard all over the place in our business, but there is no one of us that's smarter than all of us together.
Ooh, that's good. That's
So
good.
we've been utilizing that, and push, or not pushing, but trying to use that as a focus to drive them towards bringing problems together to the table, to communicate together and just work through things. It's been really cool to see. So
That is very cool. Which leads me to my next question. You got a book or favorite book or anything that you stands out to you?
I have read the last year and a half, probably 3 different times, Unreasonable Hospitality.
Okay.
Um,
Tell us about it.
so it's about a restaurant that started in New York, and the lengths they go to become unreasonable in the hospitality to their clients. And I think it's such a cool book, and it, not only do I love the story of it, but there's so many awesome applications, and even just the mindset as you look at our own industry. I think that it's getting to a point where, I mean, cars, we can fix cars, but what are we doing to serve our clients as they come through, that's going to stand apart, or going to create a lasting um memory, I guess, in terms of how we're taking care of them. So we focused on it pretty hard, like most things, for a couple months. We got some cool stories out of it. We usually end each one of our director meetings with either a win or a hospitality story from our directors. But things like, we had a single mom that came in a while back, and she was having a hard time. She had car stuff, and the director ran over and got flowers and put them in her car. I mean, just little things that are totally out of left field and probably don't make any sense in regards to the car being repaired as a whole, but that can just help emotionally a situation like that. So
That's all. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love the title of this book. I literally wrote it down as when you said it, but I just sitting here reflecting on it. I love the word unreasonable hospitality, almost like it's absurd.
it is. And if you read the book, I mean, some of the stuff they were doing was absolutely absurd, but it was a Michelin star restaurant. I think that they ended up winning the top restaurant in the world. It's based on a true story, so
Okay.
it's really good.
Well, and I like story written kind of books, in a sense. Like it's not just like a textbook in a sense. It's got there's a story that's revealing something to you. So yeah, that's cool. I can't wait to try this one out or read this one.
Yeah, it's really good.
Tell me, you got any stories for us? Any experiences that you'd share with the audience? Stand out to you?
I have a lot of different stories based on stuff that, like, technicians and service team members do to each other in the shops, just screwing around, having a good time. I mean, as far as like, I mean, we had guys putting mud flaps with weird designs on each other's cars that we get in when people are asking to take them off, stuff like that. But the one that comes to mind was from when I started, more or less. So my brother was dating the owner's daughter.
Yeah.
And I was working at a golf course, wasn't getting enough hours, so I started working here. And the first day I walked in, and there was a master mechanic that worked at the shop, and he was like in his late 50s, and he just kind of like irritable all the time. And he looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, how long do you think you'll last?" And my thought process at the time was, well, probably as long as the relationship does. Well, they got married, so I've been here ever since. So I've been here longer than they've been married, but as long as the relationship. So
That's fabulous, though. That's funny. I like that. Because you
yeah,
really were thinking like that. You know, you knew
yeah,
the leverage point. So you're kind of like, well, I guess as long as old bro.
right. Well, and people talk about like nepotism, and it kind of fell that way. But so my brother's married to the owner's daughter. I've been here for 17 years, and then 2 years ago, we hired my other brother as a director of operations. So we got this my niece and nephew's birthday parties are really weird dynamic because it's my boss, my brother, my other brother. It's just, we're kind of all over the place, but
That's pretty cool, though. That's
we've
really
had a
cool.
lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun with the growth and
Yeah.
just being able to all be a part of it together. It's been cool.
Well, John, I appreciate you coming on and telling us about your story and telling us about Westside Auto Group. I think it's fabulous, and you guys have a great thing going, and I appreciate you sharing everything with us.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me on, Mike.
100%. And tell our listeners out there, thank you for being part of the podcast. Do us a favor, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe to us, and we'll see you next time out here. To all our listeners, thank you for being part of the Gain Traction podcast. We are grateful for you. If you'd like to find more podcasts like this, please visit gaintractionpodcast.com. If you'd like to make a guest recommendation, please email me at mike@treadpartners.com. This episode has been powered by Tread Partners, the leader in digital marketing for multi-location tire and auto repair shops. To learn more about Tread Partners, visit treadpartners.com.